Hello and welcome back to Transports Fever 2, the UK modded series. Thank you very much for joining me in today's video. And as you can see, there is a steel train, which is that full of steel? I think that is full of steel. That is making its way into the marshalling yard, the Midlands marshalling yard, as well as another goods train. There is a locomotive pulling a brake wagon. It looks like there is a passenger train just about to enter or cross on whatever line this is going to be. And there are two freight trains or two goods trains that are leaving the marshalling yard on the far side. So there is a lot going on. In fact, I can hear another train coming as well. There it goes. There is a lot going on over here. Now, last time out, I messed up the cargo stops by removing the mod, which meant that a lot of these stations ended up broken. Off camera, I have gone ahead and fixed that. Things are still recovering, but I think it is a pretty good. I think it is a pretty good fix that I've put in. I've had to adjust some platforms, manually send trains in a few directions. Things are a bit wonky, but not all too much. In today's video, though, I'm going to be, as it says in the title, I'm going to be setting up the final route for coal. This is going to be the final lines that are laid down for coal production, which is another big milestone in this particular series, because that is one resource. What do you call it? Natural resource, primary resource, whatever you want to call it, for this particular series. That is one that is done, completed. In fact, I would say the iron is also completed. So that would be two. The quarries I could still do a bit more with for the stone. So I'll have to see about that. But yes, the final coal line is about to go in. So make sure you stay tuned. Let's get started. And let's see how. I have an idea as to how I'm going to do this, but let's see if I can actually pull it off. Right, so of course the coal mine's up here, and I could just get rid of this because this is a bit useless, and I will get rid of that in a moment. Don't do that. But the thing that I have to think about is how to get the coal down to this. Now, if you look at the difference in elevation, we are talking about, well, first off, this is downhill the entire way, so I have to take that into consideration. But let's take, for example, 50. Here we go. Z is 50. So about there. That's Z50. If we go up to the coal mine where I would potentially put a railway, which is maybe here, that Z equals 112. That is over double the height from sea level. Over double the height, which is going to be a problem. So, I've had an idea. I'm going to make a hill railway, or whatever you call it. It's one of those steep railways. It is going to be small trains, a couple of small trains, taking coal from here. Potentially, how would I do this? Yes, I suppose this would be where I'll do it, because we could say they're digging the coal in all of these areas. So I'll take it from here, and then I would... See, I have two options. I could run it all the way down and have it... Oh, that's another option I haven't thought about. That's a new option that has just made itself available to me. I could run it down to this. But then the problem is that I'm going to have to make some sort of, and I'm not going to do this properly, but I'd have to make some sort of curve like that for it to connect up over here, which doesn't... That's not terrible. And the reason I say this is because I already have a freight passing loop right here, which is how long? Some 700, 800 yards long. So I already have one of those, which means that it could go in and wait and let any other train go past before continuing through here. And that would mean that this doesn't happen. And this is one of the things that I've had to do to try and fix this silly issue. So I am waiting for trains to clear this area so that I can fix this issue. Once this is in the station, or in its at its destination, we should not run into trouble. So there is that. How long is this train again? 400 yards? 312 yards. So I would be limited on train length due to... I guess it could just about work. I could just about get it to work. But this is something I need to consider. And of course the other issue that I would have is, I guess I would have to double track this railway, and there is a signal in there. Can you see it? Probably not. That would have to be removed, but where would I... Then the question is, where on earth do I move it to? Or could I do this to it? A dedicated coal line. That would be interesting. A completely dedicated coal line that runs from there, goes through here, and I'd probably get it to, of course, connect up. Where would I get it to connect up? I would probably make it just connect up just here, because I'm assuming I could do this. Yes. So I could do that and have it connect up in such a fashion, which would work, because that would still allow me to turn. It'd be a bit tighter, but I think I could get that turn in, and then still allow me how much? Over 400 yards to that signal. So there is that option. Of course, I never managed to get this bit fixed. This was supposed to try and be a third line, but it never ever worked. So I've got 3, as you can see, I have 3 going out. So I can never get the 3 to go in for some reason. There was just something that was broken on it. So yes. I think it's just a matter of it just does not have the just does not quite have this the turn or that angle. Anyway, so that is an option. Okay, I have to make that decision now. Do I go out there, cross, and then through here? Or do I go down here and across and through here? Given that this is a much quieter line, I think I'm going to choose... Let's choose this side. Yes, let's do that. Okay, first off, of course, one must select some pictures or locations for pictures. So this looks like a good location. Yep, that looks like a good first location. I'll have to figure out where I'm going to put the station. This is probably a good second location, because we will get to see the trains going down here. Once I decide exactly where's a flat bit of land. This might be the best option. I was thinking here, but perhaps this will be a better option. Let's just see what... that might do. And then I'm going to have some downhill sections. Yes, I think that might do. One of the reasons for that is because it is closer to the road, so it would make more sense for me to do what I'm doing. So I will go ahead and do that as a potential, no, do that as a third keyframe and take the picture. And honestly, I'm not all too fussed about this area, because I think this isn't going to, this is not a big enough change. It's just doubling this track. It's a straight line. So let's go ahead and do that. Select that, save those keyframes, and save them as coal mine east. I suppose that's what it is. It's coal mine in the east. Right, let's go ahead and get this done. So whilst this is playing, first thing I need to do is work out where I'm going to put, and this is the building. This is what I removed. It was this track builder. So we're looking for 350 meters. Is that big enough for a coal train? 400 meters. Let's do 400 meters. Yes, let's do that. And then I need to figure out, so if we do, how many lines do we want? Now, the idea behind this is going to be that it is not necessarily, so it isn't going to be a matter of the trains come down with the wagons from up there, and then they drop the coal off and the coal gets picked up. It's more so, and this will take some imagination, it is more so that the trains drop the wagons themselves off, and then a locomotive picks it up and takes it over in that direction. That is the idea, and empty wagons get picked up and taken up to the top. But of course, that is not actually possible in Transports Fever 2. I really hope that will be a possibility in Transports Fever 3, because I think it would work really quite well. But we shall have to see. So I probably want it about there. That is probably where I want. Okay, so I've got to think about this. So let's demolish you, and I'm going to take the risk and say you are no longer necessary either. Yes, you are a redundant piece of bush, hedge. Yep, that will do. And let's just say, for example, and I will probably change this, let's say there. So that is where it is. Now, train coming along here, they would see something up there, but that's okay. It does sort of make sense. Now, what would happen here is the question, because if the trains are coming from up there, do I want, and I probably do, yes, I probably want to do that. So it will have it going up like that, and I've got to now start looking at this because this could potentially become a road. Yep, that could end up becoming a road. That road would go across and head to West Mersey on that side. Okay. So what I'm going to do is break this section. And first off, I should probably get the other side done, because that bit is possibly going to be the easier one to do. So let's go ahead and not break that. Let's go ahead and put in a 40-mile-per-hour track right along here. So we are effectively... No, hang on. I have an even better idea. We could run the coal along this and then... Okay, I'm going to... Here comes an attempt to do something quite silly. Let's see if this works. That is going to need to be potentially pushed back, but I shall have to see. So up to there. How much room does that give me? So from there to there is plenty. Right. Because what I do not want is a 400-yard train blocking... Okay, I need to see where 400 yards is from that signal. There. That is not ideal, because you've got a train then stopped here, and that will block any trains going in here and any trains wanting to go out there. So that is why I need this. But how do I... Oh, there's another one of those trains trying to sort themselves out. So let me now do... Why is that not possible? Okay, why is that not happy about that? What? There it goes. Okay. And that will go into, of course, into a 35. And that still leaves, I hope, enough room here. Oh yes, there's plenty of room. Yeah, that's plenty of room. Nearly 500 yards. So that goes there, that goes there. Probably put... This is where things are going to be a little bit awkward, but we'll move... pop in an asset. 35 there. Maybe a good option to just turn this to 35 from here as well. Remove that. Then we'll sort out the speed when it gets to it. Okay, that's a okay-ish. It is not the greatest, but it is okay. Right. So now that I have that, I need to put a signal here. That is what I need to do. Ooh. Wait. Then what happens? Because if there is a signal there, that's wait. Or what about the train that wishes to go across? So you will come along here. Okay, let's run this through. So train is coming in from here, not a problem. Happily comes along there, goes through there, stops at this signal, waiting for any other train. Say a reverse train wants to come along. I suppose the reverse train would know it cannot, because there is a train in that path, it will not be able to pass beyond this spot here. Which then tells me that the signal needs to move to down there. This signal should be removed. So that now opens up that entire curve. That would then, so train goes through there. This train will continue through here to potentially take, would have a signal here. I might have made this a little bit too complicated just in terms of logistics, we'll have to see. And then after the bridge, so after the bridge we actually have a track that will, let's say, get to the 40. There we go. And I suppose what we need to do at this point is have it... Well, that's not ideal. Just what I need it to do is effectively that. But that's a pretty steep climb. But that actually is a pretty steep climb. So that leads me to another option. And that is this way. What would happen if I had this on this side? There we go. I also want to push this closer to... How much closer could I put this? Just to give it as much room as possible. Let me push it just a touch closer. So... say there. I mean, I could use the curve to make it just very slightly match the curvature of wherever the track was going. So I could, for example, I could do that. I guess let's try that, shall we? Let's try that. So it's instead of going up, it goes down, which I think I can probably do something with that. Now, what that also means is that tracks. This is not as problematic. It's still uphill. It is still definitely uphill. But that isn't so much of a problem now. So the way I'm going to do this is we're going to have a small straight section. Not too big. That will do. How many yards was that? 110 yards thereabouts. Okay, followed by a curved section. This is where the bits change. So I'm going to try to figure this out. In fact, let's have that just flat, just for a short period of time. I'll sort the speeds out. I'll sort the speeds out shortly as well. Let's do that, that, and that. Then we start going uphill. Let's not worry too much about the gradient. So we'll do that, that, connect that like that, that's like that. And we'll try to start turning this around as best as possible. That and that, which is connected by... Now is that too much curvature? Just there we go. That and that. Okay. So that's one of the approaches, or that is the main approach. I'm sure I can figure something out a little bit better than what I've got. Let's pop a station in at, let's see, it's only going to be, I think these trains are going to be pretty small, but 4 tracks, perhaps down here. Short coal trains. So we'll do that, and I'm just going to connect maybe the main 2 here. No, we cannot have that do that. It's going to have to be... Now try not to go up, please. There we go. That looks good. That does look good, because I can have it sort of just about sit there. Does that work? I think it does. Yes, I think that does just about work. Okay. And now, out of curiosity, how would that want to connect? That's probably not a good enough connection. It needs to be... Oh, actually, thinking about it, I might be able to do a little bit of a tunnel, if possible. So let's see what happens if I try to connect that to that. Yeah, see, that's... No, that's just too steep. That is just far too steep. Perhaps that is how it is going to have to be. It might just have to be that steep. Okay, let's do that. And then what I'm going to do is be really annoying and select from this spot here up to this spot here. Should I go up to that spot there, or should I do it slightly further? Get up to there. And see if I can do a ramp equalizer. Okay. So that is now what we would class as a smooth gradient all the way. It's perhaps a little closer to the edge of this road than I would have wanted. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to break this section, and I'm going to see what... That's just as close. Right. Let's see. Curve that more in that direction. And then connects it. Then do the same ramp equalizer shenanigans. There we are. Okay. That's not looking terrible. Run that through there. I can see another bridge as a possibility here. Run that to there. And we could be okay. So that is going to be the sort of mountain, sure. So that's what I want to call it. The coal railway hill bit, I guess. I really should have sorted out these speeds earlier, but it's fine. It's absolutely fine. There we go. So that goes there, that goes there. I can probably just do this just for the sake of it. Why did that not stop? There we go. Like that, like that. Just so it gives it makes it look a little bit... what's the right term for it? Just a little bit more... It's interesting how it accepts that and then... That's not bad. That is not bad. And in all honesty, I could potentially leave that. And maybe even do this. No, that's not going to work. That was wishful thinking. I know what I was going to try. That's not going to work. But it could if I moved this. But I'll see. I'll see about that in a moment. The more important thing is to actually get this working. So now that I have that, what I want to do is... So we've got the 4-track there. I would like this to... I suppose we could start looking at connecting that already. Like so. So we'll do that. Might be a little bit closer than I'd want, but it's fine. We'll do that. And then this is where things will be a little bit interesting. So because of... So how... What do you do? Let me think. Okay, so over here, I'm going to have this, and this is going to actually open up like that. And I'm going to put 1, and I'm going to break this one, and I'm going to put, let's make this quite sharp, 2, no? 2, no? Why not? 2, like that. I guess this one could be broken. Yep, that could be broken. Go across there, that would work. And then this one needs to immediately connect So we have that one connecting to that. I'm not... Now, if I double-tracked this section, this could make it interesting. Because a train could come back and just go into this area and stop, and then that would save on maybe running into issues there. There is potential. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this bit and go to do exactly what I'm doing right now, which will start by matching this. Good. Then it needs to go straight. Keep it flat just for a moment. There we go. Situation. You and you. Well, why have you got yourself in this? What's your problem? Where are we? Sudbury. Can you not take either of those, please? There you go. Job done. Those are the issues with when fixing or repairing all of this. That's some of the issues, or those are some of the issues I've been running into. Right, back over we go at 2 frames per second. Okay, so you do that. You do that. I'm sure I can figure something out here. You turn in like so. And then we just have this go, maybe, wait, let's have this one turn in that direction. Let's have it turn in that direction, like that. Go straight for a period of time, like that. Turn in that direction. No, and then have this one come along in this direction, like that, and have that connect, like that. Okay, it's as wobbly as a Railroad Tycoon 3 connection, but I'll sort that out. In fact, I suppose I can sort it out now. So we'll go ahead and grab that from there to there. Let's hope this works. Come on. Come on. Obviously, sometimes it doesn't work. There we go. Ramp equalize. What do we get? Okay, that's not terrible. It's not terrible at all. And don't do that, please. Then what we do is we connect this up like so, and just have it follow along. Just like that. Have a crossover here. Or whatever that was. There we go. Crossover there. And that's that bit done. Okay. And then what I want to do here is probably extend this just a touch. Autosave telling me that I've already spent some amount of time here. To be honest, I'd had this running for about 15 minutes before I started, so we're probably reaching about the 40-45 minutes mark. So it doesn't really matter. But I did want to keep this under under an hour, so I'm going to certainly be trying to do that. I think this is all right. It's a little bit convoluted, but I think it's all right. Now, as for how I'm going to put some buildings in, that's going to be interesting. But the main part is actually getting this running. I think I would have preferred if that was... So this is very tight. If I could perhaps get that to turn further and then turn again, I might just prefer it to do that. That's a very... So the bit I'm not particularly liking here is that's a moderate curve. That's a very gentle curve, and then we have two tight curves. And I'm not particularly keen on how that is playing out, so I'm going to try to make some adjustments here. So that is probably better. And then I could potentially keep this straight, like so. So break this bit and break that bit. Keep this straight. Turn it in. Or make this straight, like that. Too much curvature. That's a bit too much then. That's too much curvature. Still too much curvature. Okay, how about that? You appear to be okay with that. See, now I much prefer that. I much prefer that. So what I now need to do is, of course, select from here to here, ramp equalize that section, and reconnect it. There we go. Okay, yes, that is somewhat better. And what I can then do is also start work on this. How bridge heights, there you go. Just put the bridge in. No, not that bridge. Yeah, try and put one of those in, please. There we go. That's working. Actually, that's worked surprisingly well. Any other bridges I could potentially throw in? No, that one's worked surprisingly well. There we go. Job done. Okay. I could potentially... No. I have a slight other idea. I'm fairly sure a train is going to fit under that. Locomotives, not those. These. Oh, easily. There's no way a train isn't fitting under that. Good. So now that I have that bit, what I then need to do is here I do need to have the coal. I do need to have whatever that building is called. This one. Not the junction. Conveyor belt station. There we go. And for that, I am going to... So, how am I going to do this? I guess... Well, if it matches this, for now I'm going to put this in. I'm not entirely certain if this is the best of ideas, but let me know in the comments box, and I think it should probably be somewhere near the end. So I'll put it in there. It sort of fits with that. I'm going to break that, but I'm going to connect a ground level station here. There we go. So I think that will just about work. Like so. I'm then going to see if I can actually put that railway idea in. Oh, it's just slightly off. Maybe what I'll do is I'm just going to push this back a bit. Oh, that's interesting. It's not exactly what I was after, but it will do. Coal. So, it was like this, but I'm going to push it back over and sink it down. Down. Come on. Come on. There we go. Held us too far. There. No, I'll put it slightly further back. Just in case. There. I'll put it back to that. No, don't break that now. I've just put it up again. That goes there. That goes there. This now connects up here. I'm sure I can get... there's a road somewhere around here. There it is. I can probably get this road to make its way down into here. This bit, I'm going to do some slight smoothing to... There we are. It's probably way too much smoothing. I wanted that to be chiseled a little, so I'm going to try and do some chiseling again of that. There we are, and this side. There we go, and very slight smoothing of this area. Right, that's better. That is much better, and now I can. Well, realistically, I wanted this to be parallel to that. So now that I have that, I can go ahead and from here connect that there. Good. So I've got that. That can go up to there, and I'm sure I can just do 2, 3. Potentially 2 would just do, in all honesty. And connect that up. Well, in fact, I could essentially do this and just say, look, here we've got 2 different lines for 2. And that can go there. So it gets pushed in and then moved across. Yep, that works. From here, I'm going to put a thin road going along here and curving around here. And what am I going to do? Oh, I know. I'll make this go upwards. No, don't be stupid. It needs to go upwards from here. I'll have a bit of a road. So let's have a bit of a road there. Like so, because that can connect up to this. Like that. And then we go upwards. It's probably going to be fairly steep. Let's do that. Let's have it actually curve. Like this. How steep we want it. Fairly steep. Like that. And connects up. Somewhat like that. There we go. Like that. I think that doesn't look too bad. And if we really want to, I could potentially put a road here. That just does a bit of a curve around like this. There we go. And that just comes down. No, fill it in. There we go. That just comes down and cuts in like this and connects up like that. There we go. That's really starting to look the part. And just over here, paint to finish this off nicely. Let's put some coal in. More coal, of course. No, not that small. So this bit gets painted all up with coal. Might put a bit of rock or something in it, but for now we'll just do coal. Set this, because it's incorrect with the platform type. Set that to 10 miles per hour. So we've got that. Set this to the same kind. 10 miles per hour. And that's, I didn't set that to other, did I? No, there we go. Good. I will then, what should I do now? What's left? Well, of course, connecting this up, that would be useful. How am I going to do this? That. I mean, I have an idea. I could run it the other way, but I've just thought of something. That is, if I start doing this to it, and, well no, let's curve this, please. There we go. Start doing that. And I know it's gone down there, but do not worry about that. There we go. Because then I can do this. Yep, there's the bridge I wanted. And at this point I can bridge around like that. Stop bridging. I mean, stop climbing. Is that the bridge? Bridge for conveyor belts? Yep, that's the one. This isn't perfect, but I'm just going to see what happens. As straight as that goes, all the way. So I could fill this bit up with other stuff, you see. And connect that like that. And what do you know? You've got yourself a... Yeah, you've got... I don't know why that bit is the way it is. But you've got yourself a relatively reasonable setup here. I'll go from there to there, and no, I don't know what that does. Track street modified, don't want to click it. Interruption. Well, what do you mean in interruption? No. Right. Well, that's awkward because that's not actually connected. Right. How about we try to do that again with it actually connected? That would be really useful. There we are. I'm still not sure what's going on here, so I'm going to try this again. No, that's a train line. There we go. That's better. Now that is looking fairly reasonable. I could even go further and say, I don't know, lift that up, build a tiny bridge and have it come down into this area. So, no, not that at all. Yeah, build a bridge like that. Would they build a stone bridge here? That's the question. But you do that and then have it come down into an area. I'll probably make this a lot lower than it is. But so I'm going to potentially try and change this to, no, come on. Try and change that to that. And say from here, look, you've got some other stuff. So we'll do that and have something here. No, no, sort it out. No, what have I done? That's not what I meant to do. That's not what I meant to do either. That's what I meant to do. And say, look, we've got that, whatever that is, just connecting a couple of bits and bobs. I think that could actually work quite well. And I think given the time, what I'm going to do is probably do a bit of this off camera, and I'll be back in a moment. I don't want to make this video too long. I've noticed my videos have been getting longer and longer and longer, and I want to try and keep them at somewhere around the 1 hour mark. I'm probably going to be spending the next 15-20 minutes doing this, so I'll just go ahead and instead of doing a time lapse, which to be honest, for this bit is probably going to be a bit boring. I'll be back in, after a jump cut, I suppose, or a fade cut. And we'll see what I've done, and then I'll finish the episode. Okay, so here we are, about 20 minutes of work later, 25 minutes of work later, and this is what I've done. So I've actually dropped this bridge a little bit further. I've moved this in a bit, shrunk the bridge. I've put a locomotive here. In fact, I think I've just decided I'm going to change that particular locomotive for... Just had an idea. Where is it? One of these. That's probably the better option. So this locomotive is the one that does all the hard work, moving all of these wagons around. So I've put these wagons in. They seem to be sitting quite nicely. I think that would work. Nothing else has really changed here. I have put a tunnel in. I was talking about a tunnel earlier. I thought, let me see if I can put one in. I'm not 100% convinced on where I've put it, but it's going to be quite easy. In fact, let me know in the comments box whether you think I should extend this tunnel to perhaps about there. Do let me know. It should be very easy for me to be able to do. I've gone ahead and put the farmland back in. This one, I'm not sure what I want to do with it. I was considering putting in another field just here, but I'm not entirely certain. So again, leaving that up to your comments. I've gone ahead and closed that off. I'll probably put some trees here. All of this is now complete as well. And on top of that, I've done some of the painting of the ballast and stuff to neaten up the rail beds. So yes, quite a few things have been done there. And of course, some more wagons just sitting and waiting to be shoved around. Now, what I'm going to do to finish off this episode is I'm going to create a new line, and we're going to call this. So this one is going to be, and it needs to go into the long yard. We'll paint it black, and I need to figure out exactly which route I want to take it in on. I think it needs to go right down to, yes, there we go. Now that bit is annoying as to why it does that. So I need to ensure that it goes past this signal. And then, well, that is also annoying. So yes, what I wanted to do is probably go right at the end. Can it get right to the end? It can. Although there are some open ones right here. Let's see if I can get it into, what's that, platform, whatever it is, while staying on. Oh, it doesn't. No, it does not like that. Okay. Let's try platform 12 with the options for 13 and 11, just like the other ones. But that should keep it on this side, that's good. And then of course on the opposite side here, which I'm going to have to rename, we've got all four platforms, and I think this should be called, well, let's call it Bentham Coal Mine, or Bentham Coal Transfer. Yard. Yeah, well, apparently yard has 2 D's in it now. No, it doesn't. There we go. And then we'll call this FRRA. It's not going to be West Mersey coal. So it will be not Bentham coal. What should I call this? Okay, let's just call it Bentham coal transfer. There we go. Right, because that's Berwick bricks, that's a transfer, yep. And then we'll do another line, and that goes from here to there, using all the platforms all the time. Oh, I am going to have to put signals on this. This can be grey. This one is going to be FRRA Bentham coal. That's actually Bentham coal. And this up here is Bentham coal mine. There we go. Good. I did put some signals in, but I think I'm probably going to need more. I will get these trains up and running in the next video. This was just obviously getting the design done, and I've just realised that I've made... Oh no, I can just about get... I do mean just get these in. I suppose that would have been a good opportunity to have one of those overhead gantries, but you know what? It's okay. So I've got a signal there. Probably should have a signal here and just on all of these, just so it looks complete, just like that. And does this really need a signal, or should it be one of those shunting ones? I'm not entirely certain. That's something I'll have to have a look at, but certainly here we're going to want 1, 2, 3, 4 signals, and I've got the signal going in. And lastly, oh, I haven't painted this bit. That's annoying. It's a little bit more difficult to paint this section. There we go. Done. And I think lastly, just again ensuring that I do not go too far. Yeah, I've done this bit. Missed a little section there. Too far over time. Speed limits. So I need to make sure that these tracks are the right speeds. So 25 mile per hour tracks from where? There. That's an obvious. Come on. There we go. Into this area. After that, these should all be 10 mile per hour tracks. So we'll go ahead and turn all of those to 10. In all honesty, I think the rest of the tracks should be 30 in this area. So I'm probably going to do 30 mile per hour tracks from here, because I think some of these turns are a little tight. So we'll do 30 up to there. Back down to 25, I guess. 5 miles per hour can make a difference, so it does sort of make sense. 25 into that. And that's 10, and we'll do the same thing here. 25, 25, 25, 25. There and there. There and there. 10 for this. From there. There we go, that's all 10, and then I think these were 40, weren't they? Yes, and I think the 40 mile per hour track works fairly well. So, the last question I have before I end this episode is this section here. do you think, you watching, leave a comment, do you think that this is a good idea for me to double track this entire viaduct? Because I'm looking at this, and if I do play it, I'm looking at this and thinking we'll have one coal train at least. We are going to have potentially a freight train, a goods train going in that direction, a passenger train wanted to come in this direction, and a passenger train wanted to go in that direction. So should I be looking at... I mean, I could probably turn some of this into an embankment again and then go to viaduct, trying to save money in inverted quotes. But yes, should I go ahead and double track from here and have this entire section double tracked up to there, where of course this splits onto its own sideline to get out of the way of any traffic? That is the question that needs to be asked. So do please let me know about that. But with that, I think I'm going to end this particular video. If you have any ideas about how to set these fields as well, or maybe I should just put some trees or something there, again, please let me know. And if you think there are any buildings that I could put in this area that might look reasonable, or a fence or something, again, please do let me know. But at that point, I'm going to end this particular video. In the next video, this will be up and running, and we shall see how it pans out, and see how much coal is produced to ensure that. I mean, there's a lot of steel here, but if we go, the primary purpose for this is, if we go over here, you'll note that we have no coal, and if we look over here, there isn't much coal trying to go over to... In fact, there is no coal trying to go over to the steel works. So that is why I need that extra coal, so that there is another feed aside from wherever this one is. This one over here, which I believe is currently filling up with coal. Or just sitting. Stratford Coal. Oh, that's going in the opposite direction. Never mind that. That's a train going in the opposite direction. So yes, that is the reason I need to do all this. Is probably a good spot to stop this particular episode. So thank you very much for watching. Please remember to click on the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more videos on Transports Fever 2, the UK modded series. Leave a comment in the comments box below letting me know what you think, any suggestions you might have. We will be going through a couple of years fairly soon, so we should be reaching the 1920s in the next few episodes. If you can do so, please do consider supporting me on Patreon, link in the description box below, as are links to my social media and Discord server. In the next episode, provided the coal train works properly, I'm going to start looking at the neglected town, or the neglected city, on this map, and that is Shepson Mallet. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Thank you very much once again. I'll see you next time in Transports Fever 2, the UK modded series.